Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to another Circling Shell Sports game reaction. I know that the line here under the final score is not so positive, but the Seattle Kraken did win this game in overtime. They finally beat the Tampa Bay Lightning for the first time in Seattle's NHL existence. It's the one team they had not checked that box off against, and they're able to do so on the road to close out this road trip. So that was impressive. Seattle builds two separate two-goal leads throughout this one. The first one coming in the first period. Wait, no, they both came in the first period. And then giving that two-goal lead away twice, eventually forcing an overtime. This was a wild one. Tampa Bay, not quite the team that won the two separate Stanley Cups, and made the playoffs last season. They're a little bit different. But obviously, without star goaltender Andre Vasilevsky, but Jonas Johansson has been pretty solid to start the season for them. Seattle was able to beat him tonight in this game. It's a really strong game for the Kraken here, and in many different aspects. I like how it's been throughout the course of the year so far. A strong start. Seattle goes and scores 3 goals in the first period, including a power play goal from Kyle Yamamoto at the end of it for that third goal. They looked strong. They got out to a really quick start, got those first 2 goals pretty quick. And Brian Dumoulin scores his first goal as a Kraken. Justin Schultz on the assist on that one gets his 300th career point assist. There's a point. It might have been point, actually. Goodness, I tweeted it out and everything. Well, um, it was Dumoulin. Hmm. Dumoulin, yeah, then Yanni Gord scores against his former team, which was nice. Um, Eventually, the lead gets blown to go into overtime. There were a couple instances where this game was really close to going in Tampa Bay's favor and Tampa Bay winning it. We'll talk about that in a second. But Jared McCann hammers home the game winner. He was our player of the game, not just for his game-winning goal in overtime, but also for an assist in this game, coming on Yanni Gord's goal. So that was impressive to see as well. I want to make sure it was Yanni Gord's goal. Yes, it was Yanni Gord's goal. He got the secondary assist on that one. Kyler Yamamoto could have been here as well. He had 1 goal and 1 assist, his first multi-point game as a Kraken. But Jared McCann, I talked about this in our recap article. Oh, no, in our good, bad, and ugly article. But Jared McCann, when his career is done, will be one of the better players in Kraken franchise history. Probably one of the best. Obviously, again, it's early in the franchise career. Some other players who are younger, probably in the prospect pool, will eventually be better, I'm sure. But Jared McCann's impact will be remembered for what he did to start the year, to start this franchise. Whether it was the 40-goal season, being the first player to sign an extension, some of the key moments he's had, including now this overtime winner. So Jared McCann, continues to be such a stellar part of this franchise, and a foundational piece, I would argue. So our other player of the game, and this one is kind of said in jokes to pipes. In the third period, under 30 seconds, Tampa Bay had an opportunity to go ahead and get a late game winner potentially, but their shot hit the pipe. They jammed it against the pipe, weren't able to get it through. Philip Grubauer jumps on it, melts it down. And in this overtime period, this one was interesting. Braden Point tried to thread a pass through both Philip Grubauer and Adam Larson. Larson got part of the stick on it, but not enough to prevent the puck from going past that stick. Nikita Kucherov was backdoor, was trying to put it home. That puck hits the pipe as well. And Grubauer jumps on it again. So, hey, man, shout out to your pipes. Whether it's thanking them in different languages like Marc-Andre Fleury or whatever you may do. Shout out the pipes. That's not to say that Philip Grubauer didn't play well either. I mean, 34 saves and 919 save percentage. That was really solid as well. Both of the Kraken goaltenders, as we've talked about over this road trip, and even earlier into the season, have played well to begin the year, have been a big, strong factor in that. And when I talk about, different aspects of this Seattle team being good and showing positive signs, the goaltenders have been part of that. there are few goals throughout the course of this season so far that you can truly pinpoint on the goaltenders, and not something else in the play leading into that. So happy with Gruby's performance. Nice to see him do that. Again, this is a Tampa Bay team. I know I said it's a different roster than the one that has won those Stanley Cups, but still a lot of talent in the forward groups. I just talk about Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov. So, big there. To get that performance from Philip, and nice for him to get his first win of the season. He had not gotten a win in the 4 games he had played in previously. We look at the power plays, the special teams here. Seattle gets 2 power play goals. I mentioned the Kyler Yamamoto goal. Jared McCann's overtime winner was also a power play goal. So nice to get the power play in overtime. That's always helpful. You go from 3 skaters to 4 skaters. Really big impact. I mean, nice to get that going. Nice to get Yamamoto on the power play as well. I know that he's been moved around on the different units. We've seen that in practice throughout the year so far. So nice to see that. The penalty kill, that one that the Lightning did convert, came in a spot that was unfortunate. The last 2 games in Florida and in Tampa Bay here, the Kraken have gotten a 2-goal lead, and then Jamie Alexiak has given up a penalty. Both of them relatively frustrating, considering that they shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have done that in the first place. They were avoidable. It was a holding call actually against former Kraken Hayden Fleury. Tampa Bay takes advantage. Again, I will say it. I did say that this is a different Tampa Bay team, but that power play that they have is still a dangerous one, from the history that they have with each other. But the power plays had a tough, the penalty kill, I'm sorry, has had a tough go of things this road trip. I mean, you play some good teams with some good power plays. You give up 3 power plays in the 3rd period to the Red Wings, a team that's been one of the better offensive teams in all of the NHL at the beginning of this road trip. And especially let alone the Carolina power play, even though, yeah. So I mean, it's been tough for them. I know there's concern about it. I'm not too worried about it per se. If this continues on throughout the month of November, then I'd be concerned. Um, but currently not too much. Nice to see that stat there. Tampa Bay only allowed the 1 power play goal coming into this game, and Seattle gets 2 on them. We look at the statistics here. Nothing too wild in this one. You lose the face-off wins. Sure. The hits were a little hits is good. Again, I think we talked about it in the Florida game before this, seeing that physical aspect ramp up. Seattle's not an overly physical team. That's not their identity. That's not who they're going to be until maybe we see a Jacob Melanson, Yanni Newman come up here through the prospect pool. That's not who they are. So at least right now, I'm not expecting them to see the hits that number go up a ton, especially with Brendan Tanev out. But good to see when they are able to win that battle of the blocks as well. Seattle statistically this season has been very middle of the pack in blocking shots per game. As we do that every game with our game stat graphic in the morning on the game days, but it's a big help. Not only helps you defensively, helps out your goaltender. So to an extent, you want to see you want your goalie to get some saves early on, so they get in the rhythm. But this was a solid game. Just giving up the 2-goal leads, man. It's just frustrating, so headbangingly frustrating. So overall, though, on this road trip, I mean, getting 5 of the 8 possible points against all tough teams, both Florida, Tampa Bay. Those Florida teams are tough. Florida obviously going to the Stanley Cup final last season. Tampa Bay getting eliminated in the first round by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Carolina, all the talent that they have, them being a cup favorite. Detroit starting out as hot as they have been. That's a tough 4-game road trip. And to come in, get the 2 overtime wins, lose 1 in overtime, and lose 1 in Florida that just comes off of a lucky bounce, that 3rd goal that they get. Just unfortunate. And to have a 2-goal lead in all 4 of those games is positive. But then losing it, obviously, is very negative and frustrating. It's something that you absolutely need to be better about going forward. So, speaking of going forward, after that 4-game road trip has wrapped up, which it has now, Seattle will get to come back home to Climate Pledge Arena for a very brief 2-game homestand. They'll play the Nashville Predators next, Thursday the 2nd, back at home. That says the Lightning. Ay, ay, ay. That's not right. I didn't change that. I apologize. Um, the Predators have been interesting. Obviously, we'd go back to early in the season. Seattle lost 3-0 to the Predators. UC Saros was excellent. Seattle, did strong in that game, had a strong start to the game. That midway through the second period, as we've talked about, was kind of the turning point there. And because of how strong Saros had been early in the game, and Nashville was more than ready to block shots. Seattle just couldn't break the dam, got shut out. So the Kraken will surely be looking to right that in this rematch here. And after this game, they'll play Calgary 2 days later on Saturday. So, um, mm, 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 mm. Oh yes, sorry. Both of those games are 7 o'clock puck drops. If you are local, it is on Root Sports. I understand they changed their pricing. I know. And if you are not local and you are national, you can watch it on ESPN Plus. So until we see you then, take care.